everybody. Welcome to Craft Club. That must be the wrong sign. Hang on. Okay, welcome to Craft Club. I'm Mandy with Sugar Bee Crafts, and we do a craft project every week live, which is super fun way to spread that crafty joy, right? To tune in, get ideas for projects. Maybe you have the supplies on hand and you can work those projects as well. Anyway, today's going to be a little bit different because the project's already made. I'm not going to make it in front of you, but I wanted to talk through this really cute wreath that I made and give you ideas in case you're thinking, oh, I need something springy on my door, right? So this is what we are going to talk about today. You might have seen me post this on Instagram, and you had questions about it. I have posted it on my blog as well. So that is Sugar Bee Bling. Okay, I'm getting like all the notifications. sugarbeecrafts.com. Woo, I have two lives. Okay, so sugarbeecrafts.com is where you're gonna find all the details to the things that I bought and how, like, step-by-step pictures, but I'm gonna talk you through it today. So, first off, you guys tell me if you have a spring wreath on your door and what kind of spring wreaths you like, right? Like, do you go with florals? Is that your thing? Do you have maybe a letter of your last name on your door? Like, talk to me about what your door looks like and what you might hang on it. I did not used to be a wreath person, and then, I don't know, I made a wreath and then there's no going back. And so now I love to make a wreath for every season. Even though I have the wreaths from past seasons, you know what I mean? Like, I had a spring wreath, and I just wanted to mix it up because it's just fun to make something new. So the spring wreath I had last year was actually very similar, and I used the same base, but it was paper flowers instead of the silk flowers. And so I feel like this one has kind of a different vibe to it. My last year's was very bright and like cutesy and you know, kind of more bold and kind of a modern take. And I feel like this is more of a softer look for my spring wreath. Anyway, I would love to hear what's on your door, so let me know. And that way I can see if the comments are working, because you know we have a thing with that. So what this is, let me see if I can get it over here. I should have this setting out. Hang on. Is an embroidery hoop. So see how it's a giant embroidery hoop? There is a trend recently of using embroidery hoops to make wreaths, and I love it. Because I like embroidery, and so I feel like it's just a super fun way to be able to use that in a different way. So this is what I started with. I got mine at Michael's. I do have links on my blog, which is Sugar Bee Crafts, of where you can grab one on Amazon and have it shipped to you. Anyway, so this is 18 inches. So it's an 18-inch wreath, and you can see how that is compared to me as a person. It's about me wide. But if you have a smaller door, or if you're hanging a wreath in a smaller spot, like, you know how sometimes you just have a frame on your wall that you want to put a wreath in, then you can get a smaller hoop. Okay, so oh yeah, everyone loves the paint stash. It's a fun one. So this is the hoop that I have. Last year I left it plain. Okay, so just the plain wood, so you can see that. This year I wrapped it in twine because I love to be tortured, right? No, just kidding. It did take a while, just so you know. Like, put on a show, because when you're wrapping to where it's filling it in and not just like random around, it's going to take a while because you have to wrap closely around. So I just use this twine, right, that you can buy at any craft store. And I just started at the top, and I put a little piece of, or a little dab of hot glue, and I wrapped. And then, you know, it was secure right where I started. And so I would wrap like maybe this much, and then I'd put some more hot glue. And then I'd wrap a section and put hot glue. I don't know if the hot glue was necessary, but I just felt better about putting it on there in case it was going to, I don't know, like, you know, just in case. So that is what I did on that one. Yeah, you need to make it. So if you want to be extra, wrap your hoop. Then this here board is just a scrap piece of wood. You can see that I had Trevor cut it for me on the slant. Okay, so it's a little bit slanted and I don't know that angle. Sorry. You could do a straight piece of wood if you wanted. It just wouldn't like set in there. Thanks, Kim. I'm wearing it straight today. The other day I had it curled. And I like them both. And did you guys see this? It's cut up under, which is giving it a lot of fluff. Anyway, so when you go to add this bar in, you want it to be like in the bottom third. So, I mean, it depends. I guess you want it to be wherever you want it to be. So if you want it to come across the middle, go for it. I wanted mine to be in the bottom third. So that's why it's kind of down there. I feel like I need to back up just to show you. There. So you just measure across your hoop, because your hoop might be a different size than mine, and you might want it in a different spot than me. And you just measure across and cut it. And like I said, you could try and do it straight, but those slants really help it to sit in there. And then I just used some glue, like a little bit of wood glue, because I glued it in before I wrapped it, which was a whole nother thing. Anyway, and then a nail gun just to, and then a nail gun through here. So it like tacked it in. But I feel like that was just a precaution because it's not gonna slip any further down because it's a circle, and so it's made to fit right where it goes. Does that make sense? Like it could move up, but it's not gonna go down because it's too big for the spot. So I tacked it in, but I'm not too worried about the board moving. All right, so then you get to decide what to put on it. These are little bitty clay pots, and this is what I used last year. So cute, and I put those across. This year I have these, and they're actually, I think I have a spare. Where'd it go? I got a lot of flowers sitting here. I don't know. Okay, so anyway, always, I know I have an extra somewhere, because always buy one extra when you're doing clay pots, or these are little cement pots, because what if it breaks? I live a ways from the store, and so I don't want to get home and have 5 pots and drop one and then cry and think I could have spent my extra 30 cents and brought another pot home. So I always buy one extra just in case. So I swear I have an extra of this cement one, but I don't know where it went. Anyway, I got these pots at Michael's. So the clay ones are cute, and you could paint them. We paint clay pots around here a lot. These ones are cute too. I will warn you that this right here, this pot, is a little heavy. Like, this is the heaviest wreath I have ever made. It's got some heft to it to be able to put, because there's cement instead of clay, and so it's a heavy wreath. So keep that in mind when you are making yours. And last year when I had it and I had all these pots, I actually hung it inside, kind of in my entryway. So it might be a wreath that you don't necessarily want to keep on your front door. It just depends. Thanks, Karen. Anyway, so there's the pots. Then, I don't know if I can show you. Oh, I glued it in because they were wiggling. So down inside there, I got to flip this whole thing over. Ready? Can you see in the back where I didn't fill it in? Let's see. There we go. Down inside there is a foam ball. So I just had some scrap foam. I had some balls and some like Easter eggs shapes, and I cut them in half and I shoved them into my pot. So you can see it's just a craft foam right down in there. And then I had bunches of flowers also from the craft store, like this, right? I just picked out a few colors that I thought would be cute together. And the thing is, you cannot, like this is, let me show you. This is a whole stem. You cannot put this in that pot because it's so tall. Like, that is not going to work. So the way that you do it is you cut these apart. And if you've never cut florals apart, don't be scared. You just need wire cutters, because there's a wire that runs through this stem, this plastic, and you just snap it wherever you want it to be. So I cut these, and then piece by piece, I shoved them down into the foam. And I kind of had a pattern working, so I've got the coral in this pot, like it's all coral. Here's where it divides. And then this next pot here is like a mixed And I bought one of these and it had the colors mixed in it, so I didn't even have to think. It just already had all these mixed, so I didn't have to think about having to mix match colors. So that's that one. Then I did an all yellow, and then I repeated because I've got 5, right? So I've got these 2 match, the corals on the end, and then this one and this one are both mixed, and then I did the yellows in there. I forgot to mention, sometimes that foam ball inside would roll because it wasn't fitting in there. So I just put some hot glue around it and shoved the foam ball in to make it not wiggly. So if you're having a wiggly issue, just be liberal with that hot glue. I just like squirted it into my pot. So you can do that. Then you just shove all your flowers in. If you could see into your pot, then you can cover it. Last year I used like this cute, because my flowers were paper last year. So last year I used this cute, what is this called? That you use in presents and like packaging. Anyway, I put it on top like this so that you couldn't see the foam underneath. And then I had a stem and a flower. But this year, the florals really hide the top of my pot. So I did not even worry about it. You could also put moss on top. But if you can't see the foam, I would not worry about it. I'm not sure. Let's see. This one here says $3.99 on the tag. And I bet there was a sale. You know how there's like always a sale. So I'm sure it wasn't quite that much. And I think I only used like this stem, I think did both. Like, you know what I mean? Like this coral, I feel like that was one stem to do 2 pots, I think. So hopefully that'll help you. I can't remember how much the pots were either. I don't know. You know when you're in the craft store, you're just like throwing things into your cart like a crazoid? That was me. All right, so, but this is kind of pricey. The actual, I mean, just because it's an embroidery hoop that you, because you know, embroidery hoops are so cheapy. Like usually when they're a regular size, they're just like $1, I don't know, a couple dollars. But the bigger one's pricey, so use your coupon on the bigger one, okay? So anyway, to get my pots to stay on the board, which is what everybody's asking about, again, I just used hot glue. It's like a go-to, right? So this is the same board I used last year, and I pulled off my last year thing. So I'm going to show you. This is where I hot glued it last year. It was on so tight that when I pulled this pot off, it took a little bit of the wood with it. Do you see that? See that? Oh yeah, seed pots is a great idea. See how it pulled it off? So the hot glue will work. It will stay on there. So I just hot glue it and push it into place, and they are not moving, right? They're good to go. We're good to go. It's on there. Then in the back, so if you do put this on your door, realize that this is like a 3D wreath, right? Like there's a lot of heft to it. I do try and make the pot just sit a little more in the front than the back because it's obviously wider than the embroidery hoop. But there is still part sitting in the back. So I just took felt, like crafty felt, see it? And hot glued it to the points where it touched the door, because you know how the pot slants out this way, so it was touching the top. So that way, because it's going to knock and kind of rub against the door, and so I didn't want it to scratch the door, and I didn't want it to, like, clank and bust. So I put that felt on there. But again, if you have a lot of little kids, and they are door slammers, this might be a wreath that you hang inside to display, and maybe not a door wreath. It's up to you, because it's, like I said, it's got some heft to it, and it's got some breakables on it. So I know last year I hung it inside. Then I also, because I wanted to be extra, so if you want to be extra, I also did this wood bead, what do we call them this? Like a swag? Wood bead swag. So what I did was I just took some wood beads. Some of them were from the craft department, like the blank wood department, and some were from the bead department. So you can look in both places. The smaller ones were from the bead department. The bigger ones were from the craft department. But I just put them on a twine. And to get it to attach, I know you're going to be shocked, but I used hot glue. So I just tied a knot, and then I glued the knot right there. And I glued the knot right here. And then I tried to like plan out where the 2 swags were. And this one here is literally, the wood is glued to the wood with hot glue, right? Like that. Like, Hot glue is your friend. I put this whole thing together with hot glue. I mean, I did tack down that wood board like I told you when I put it in the hoop, but other than that, it's basically hot glue holding this together. So that is how I put the swag on. That's a great idea. You guys have all the ideas. I love it. So this is my project to share with you today. Oh, my clock needs a new battery. It's completely stopped. So I know this was a little different and that we didn't actually make the project here on Craft Club like we normally do, but I didn't need another wreath, so I wasn't going to make another one. But hopefully you kind of had an idea of how I put it together. Like I said, you can put yours together however you want. Like you can move the bar up, you can do florals, you can, where are those? Okay, they're still out. This is what I did last year. I had paper flowers in a pot like this. See, I had the paper on top and then the paper flower, and then those were all set. So it's kind of a different look even though it's the same concept. So you could do that however you want to do it, but it's a really fun. We should make paper flowers next week, right? Maybe that should be our craft club, because you could use these a variety of ways. In fact, we're having people over for dinner today, and now I'm thinking, ooh, I should put these all in a pot together and make a centerpiece, because that's what crafty people do, right? Like we gotta do something crafty when someone comes over. So anyway, I'm gonna sign off, you guys. I'm Mandy with Sugar Bee Crafts. I do have a craft club group on Facebook. If you like to talk crafty things and show off your own projects, you can hop in there and request to join that. I'm here every Wednesday doing a project for you guys. And so if you have ideas on projects that you'd like us to tackle together, let me know that as well. And if you need more details on the wreath, like up close pictures or whatever, that is on my blog at sugarbeecrafts.com. I think that's all I have for you. Oh, yes. Amy, you should even do like the big giant flowers. I've done those in my girls' room. They were so fun. So it's where like each petal is the size of a piece of paper, and way fun. Thanks, Karen. I also have a website called Sugar Bee Bling. So I've got double live, Sugar Bee Crafting, and then Sugar Bee Bling is accessories. And they're only $5, so you can grab anything from there, and happy shopping there as well. I feel like I have a code for crafty people, but now I can't remember it. So, what? Oh, Trevor helped me out. It's Crafter. So, I don't know what it gets you. Do you know what it gets them? Free shipping. Oh, so you spend $10 or more, so you get 2 things, and you get free shipping at Sugar Bee Bling if you use the code CRAFTER. That was impromptu. I had no idea. I mean, I knew we had set that up a long time ago, but apparently it's still working.